Two nerds went to college and found each other in the English department basement and became instant friends. 8 years and 3 degrees later, they're reunited. You're listening to Book Club, the movie, the podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Book Club, the movie, the podcast, where we read, watch, and discuss books and their film adaptations. I'm your host, Jen.
And I'm your other host, Em.
We hope you read the book.
But if you didn't, here's the summary. Caution, spoilers ahead.
In 1970, Em's mother turned 2 years old, and Jen's mother turned 14. The Environmental Protection Agency was created, and Judy Blume published Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Our protagonist, Margaret, is an 11-year-old girl living in New York City with her parents when her life is suddenly upended by a big move out of the Big Apple and into suburban New Jersey. After moving, Margaret quickly becomes aware that she is growing up, if not a little bit slower than she would like. She joins a friend group, and together they become obsessed with boys, first kisses, first bras, and most importantly, first periods. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret is about growing up, friendship, religion, and what it means to be a young person in our big world.
I didn't read a lot of Judy Blume. And my friend Julia actually just assumed that I love Judy Blume because I have a Beverly Cleary tattoo on my arm. And those are the same person to her, I guess, because she's from Australia or something. I don't know if that's the reason. But she did suggest to me to watch the documentary Judy Blume Forever. And I mean, I'd only read a couple of books from Judy Blume, and I think I didn't really identify that much with them. It was like Super Fudge or something. I kind of missed out on all of the stuff that makes her really cool. Like a lot of her books have been banned from schools and like libraries and stuff because she writes a lot about sexuality and like what it means to grow up. She's really clear and honest in the way that she does this, especially with this book. But I think watching that documentary definitely gave me a greater appreciation for her. And I kind of wish that I'd, read more of her books as a kid.
She does seem like a pretty cool lady. I mean, she was born in the late 1930s. So she's in her late 80s now. Looks like she was born on the East Coast.
This is an East Coast book for East Coast children.
Right. Starts in New York City, moves to the New Jersey suburbs.
Mm-hmm. I think even as a 30-something year old lady, I still identified with this book because reading it brought up a whole bunch of like memories of myself as an awkward teenager, which, both the best times and the worst times of my life, I think.
It's definitely simpler.
Yeah, it was simpler, but so complicated, I think. I mean, just the things that were so important to me then are still kind of important now, but they seem just that much sillier. And dang, the girls in this book are just silly little gooses.
Yeah, they are.
This book, it's so different from other children's books because it is so honest with the ridiculous things that these 11, 12-year-olds were doing to try to figure out what it means to be a human.
Right. And they weren't like, it wasn't written about in like a shameful way or anything like that. It was just like truly honest to the experience.
Very honest. And just the methods that they were, the different forms of theft whenever they steal the anatomy book and then they just...
Oh, I don't remember what they said about, but they were talking about like their boobs. And
I know, yes, with the Playboy magazine that it was just even in the movie, as they were talking about Playboy, like it was just such a, yeah, my dad has Playboy. And I feel like growing up in the Midwest, I would never have known if my dad had a Playboy subscription. Whoa. That's not a thing. It was just, that she got the mail and brought it up. She would have had other opportunities to see this magazine, right. I think. But, oh my God, it was Gretchen in the movie. this is my favorite line out of the whole thing. They were looking at the centerfold in Playboy and her boobs, and Gretchen said, "Oh, look how round they are. Mine just look like little wizard hats." We called them nubbins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt like I had little triangles for most of like until I really hit like puberty. I was a little chubby little girl, so I had like boobs kind of early-ish.
Did you even have like sex ed? I didn't even have sex ed. We just glossed over that.
We had sex ed in middle school.
We had it like in like all the information was in like our health class textbook, but we just skipped that chapter.
I switched schools after 6th grade, so I don't know if they did sex ed in 6th grade or not. Yeah, we had sex ed 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. It was not progressive really in what they taught. It was like a program sponsored by, put on by a teen pregnancy type clinic.
Oh no.
Like it wasn't Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
But it was something with like Christian roots. And so what they taught was abstinence, not safe sex.
Yeah.
And also in that kind of maybe gave misleading information, or were kind of told half truths about sexual education, about reproductive organs, or like the act of having sex, how painful it would or would not be. So I feel like they didn't really give it. I mean, if I had a child, that's not how I'd want them to learn about sex.
Yeah, I think it definitely gave me a complex because we never had it at my school. It didn't happen. We learned about like pregnancy, but not how you make the baby. And we learned about all of the STDs and STIs, but not how you catch them. We never ever talked about what had to happen in order for these things to. It was very, very much like in Mean Girls, the don't have sex because you will get pregnant and you will die.
Like that coach.
Like it was, yes, from the coach. It was our health teacher was also our PE teacher. Like it was the same person. And she got so mad at us during like one of our review days about all of the STDs. Because a few years before us, somebody wrote a very silly song about gonorrhea. And it was literally just like, oh God, how did it go? It was like, gonorrhea is my STD, something, something, and it hurts me. It was very, very silly. And it like described all of like the symptoms. And we were supposed to be just sitting like across from somebody and we would list off symptoms and then they were supposed to say the STD. And we couldn't think of the symptoms for gonorrhea. So we just said, silly song. And the other person yelled, gonorrhea. And she was so mad.
Yeah, no, we did that whole like cup exercise where everybody spits into it. And then when it gets to like the last person in the room, they're like, now would you drink from that cup? And they're like, no, gross. And then it's like, well, this is what it's like when you have sex with a lot of people. Each time someone's spit in the cup, it's another sexual partner. And I mean, that's really, it creates an impact for a 7th grader, an 8th grader. Like me personally, I think that's too young to be sexually active.
Yeah.
In this day and age. I don't know. It was really gross. Also, could not be a thing post-COVID.
No. We're not doing that anymore.
So, boobs, right? Every girl wants them, but girls, they suck. They're not great. I don't know why we obsess about having boobs or why that matters so much.
I wanted them so bad.
But I mean, they're just fat glands, really.
I know, but they're beautiful fat glands. I don't know. I appreciate boobs. I wanted them so bad. And I was a skinny little twiggy gymnast. So I did not have them for a very long time. And God, as soon as we did watch the video in the 4th grade that told us about like what it means to be a lady with your ovaries, etc. And I really, really wanted the etc. so bad. Just like Margaret and her friends, I wanted it so bad. And me and my best friend in elementary, middle school, like that's all we talked about for a very long time.
Did you ever do any exercises? Like, because there's this really hilarious scene where they're doing this like weird
They were like, it's like a bench press, but standing.
with no weight.
Yes.
I don't really know what
Yes.
that was going to do for them, but they're like, we must increase our bust.
It was like an aerobic exercise for their boobies.
But yeah, so the book and movie are kind of set in like the 60s, right? Like the 1960s.
Mhm.
So it's a little different, I think, back then, like to be a prepubescent, early pubescent girl. I started wearing a bra in like 3rd grade, but it was like little sports bras because I was chubby, and so I had little tiny little boobies.
Little tiny boobies.
But they needed a little bit of a cage. I hate bras. I'm not wearing a bra right now. It doesn't matter. I'm in my own home.
My first bra was from J.C. Penney's, and it dug into my skin, and it was awful. And I was like, "This is the price I'm willing to pay because I want boobs."
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
it was the very sheer like t-shirty cotton thing, zero padding. It was really just for peace of mind, and it had the teeny tiny little like ribbon wrapped pink rose thingy detail right in the very center, so that my t-shirt would be super lumpy.
Right.
With it.
I mostly had like Fruit of the Loom, no underwire, sports bra type bras, lots of different colors. But then I feel like when I got to like 5th or 6th grade, maybe 7th grade, well, definitely by 7th. Like by 7th grade, I was shopping at Pink, but also 7th grade is when I switched over to public school. Like after 6th grade, I moved schools, and I had one of my friends who was also like in the gifted program, whatever. So we were 2 like gifted weirdos, gifted kid weirdos, like
yeah,
if you're a public school kid, you know what that's like. Hopefully you were cooler or something, but
I mean, same. I was also a public school gifted kid weirdo with a public school gifted kid weirdo best friend.
Right. So
same.
she and I decided that we wanted to infiltrate the popular group. And we actually in 7th grade, like we made it happen. But what that required was the right clothes. And her parents were like both well off. And my dad wanted to buy my love. So a couple months into school, I was like, Dad, I need clothes. I need to go to American Eagle. I need to go to Hollister. I need help. And he's like, let's fucking go. He was so game. I kid you not. I'm pretty sure he spent like $700 or $800 at Hollister and like the same amount at American Eagle so that I could have the right jeans, the right like V-neck t-shirt with the right emblem logo thing. I was like,
oh my gosh,
he was dedicated. That's the like not the one time, but throughout my childhood, that was like one of the main things where I was kind of like, I don't care what the strings are because everything was like strings attached with my dad. But I was like, I have to be popular. I have to have the clothes. Kohl's is not cutting it. We have to do Hollister or American Eagle. And so, I mean, it was like a Pretty Woman for middle schoolers situation.
Oh my God.
But self-done. I mean, like I'm the one who did the shopping, and I got like perfume from Hollister. It had this little like a bauble thing where that's how you would squirt it on you. Like old tiny perfumes.
Yeah.
That they had. It wasn't just like a but it was like a and everybody's like, you smell so good. And I'm like, it's Hollister.
Let's talk about Philip Leroy.
He's kind of mean.
In the movie, I feel like they didn't make him quite as crappy in the movie as they did in the book. In the book, like even Margaret even says in the book, like he's definitely the cutest guy, but I don't like him. Like he
Right.
was a little
Good
jerk.
taste, Margaret.
Yeah, like she was way more mature about it, I think, than I was at that age. And I know that it's because Judy Blume wrote the book, but that's not the point. Like I just feel like she made Margaret just a very sensible person. Because in
Right.
the book, I mean, like, yeah, he's the cutest guy, but she called him a foot stomper because all the boys were like stomping on their feet and stuff and like genuinely like trying to hurt these girls. But there was less foot stomping in the movie. Did you ever play like spin the bottle? 2 minutes.
Yeah, in 7th
Yeah.
grade, part of getting in with the popular kids, I was invited to this one girl's birthday party. We played Spin the Bottle in her basement, and then I think we played 2 Minutes in Heaven or 7 Minutes in
Mhm.
Heaven. I don't know why this says 2 Minutes
Because
in
they
Heaven.
did 2 minutes and they did like 2 minutes in the closet. That was what they called the game. It wasn't
Okay,
7 minutes
well.
because I feel like 7 minutes is enough to like get pregnant, but 2 minutes is 2 minutes is just enough to like lose your innocence.
I'm pretty sure that we did 7 Minutes in Heaven though, because it's 7 in Heaven
Yeah, it
is
rhymes.
the vibe, the thing.
Yeah.
So, but I don't remember kissing anyone at that. I don't think I really played. I think I just more like watched, and
Yeah.
maybe I abstained because I was like, I haven't had my first kiss yet, and I don't want this to be my first kiss because gross. Like
Mhm.
I read and watched too many like romantic movies where the first kiss needed to be
Mhm.
important. And then my actual first kiss when I was 16 was just on my dad's couch after school one day. Not impressive, but
My first kiss, my first middle school kiss, we'll call it that. My first middle school kiss was with now felon. He's a felon now. It's not okay, y'all. Anyway, it was after school and it was outside of the old band room, which was near which was like in our old gymnasium building. And it was so quick and so fast and just a real letdown, if I'm being perfectly
yeah.
honest. Like it was just, I remember it happened and I was just like, huh.
That's how I felt about my first kiss, except I was 16 and I was like, that's it. That's all. Like, wasn't that big of a deal. And it was kind of one of those things where I was like, I don't really know if I want to do this again. And then he's kind of like, let's kiss again. And I was like, okay, I guess. And it got better. But it was also his first kiss. So,
It's,
neither one of us knew what we were doing.
there's just always so much buildup to it. And I think it's usually a letdown.
Nancy.
Who was your Nancy?
I mean, I had a Nancy in like elementary school, but then I left that school in 6th grade. And then I went to public school for 2 years. And then she moved over to public school in high school. So for actual middle school, 7th and 8th grade were some glow up years for me. Like, not gonna lie. 7th grade, decided to infiltrate the popular kid group, sit at their lunch table and everything. The friend that I made, she and I did that together and we succeeded and we like lifted each other up kind of thing. Cause she was on like a traveling volleyball team with a lot of the popular girls. So we just kind of had this like agreement where it's like, if one of us gets invited, we'll be like, oh, well, there's room for my other friend. So I'm going to bring her too.
Tell me about Nancy.
So in elementary school and then 6th grade, my Nancy, we were frenemies. We were friends 1 second, enemies the next. And she was mean to me. I don't know. Like, I went to a small like private school. So there were like 20 to 25 kids in my entire grade. And I think the largest number of girls we ever had was like maybe 8 girls. That's like not enough girls to have
That's
friends.
not enough girls. That's not enough people.
Yeah. So like 1, we were outnumbered by boys, and 2, like there weren't that many girls. So like we could get real catty real fast.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of swung between, we were on this pendulum between like being really good friends, like being really, really close. And then just call me a bitch in the library or like call me fat or something. I'd be like, you're not my friend.
Oh, good Lord.
So it was just really off and on. And I think all of it boiled down to her home life was not stable and not great at that time. And then soon after her parents divorced, her dad like remarried like within a year or two, I want to say, because I remember her having like, there were these sleepovers and her stepsisters, she had a couple of older stepsisters who were about the same age as her biological sister, and they were evil. They
Mm-hmm.
were so mean. Not her sister. Her sister was nice, but like the stepsisters were just total jerks. Especially to me. Like there was one time I called my mom crying to come pick me up from the sleepover because her older sisters were being so mean. So I think maybe when it was just Nancy at home, maybe they were like that to her.
Mm.
But when we started going to the same high school, like we only had a couple classes together here and there. So we did not really like talk to each other much. We didn't hang out. And I was like, I will steer clear of her. I've got enough friends as it is, and we don't need to revisit that from elementary school.
I feel like I had a few different Nancys. I don't know. I feel like everybody in my school was just kind of having bad periods of their life, and we were all taking it out on each other. And I'm sure that I was somebody else's Nancy too. I wouldn't.
Right.
I, like everybody else, was going through it. But I had one Nancy who would like steal from me all the time, constantly. Our entire life, she was constantly stealing from me. Ugh. And then I had another Nancy who was like really, really going through it at home. And she was constantly like just trying to remind me that she thought I was ugly. And she was constantly like talking about how big my nose was, or how bad my acne was, or just, I don't know, just constantly everybody tearing each other down. And I feel like everybody kind of goes through that, but
Yeah.
it's just especially bad in middle school. And I think that, so with Nancy, back to the movie and book that we're supposed to be talking about, I feel like Nancy was worse in the movie, but maybe that's because we were watching it through our own point of view. Whereas how in the book, Margaret just really, really has like rose-colored glasses on. Like she's really giving everybody a lot of grace, like way more grace than I think I would have been able to.
Yeah. So it's like in the movie, we don't have as much interiority from Margaret. We do have a little bit of her like voiceover narrating stuff, but that's about it. And then the rest of the time, we're just kind of seeing it play out, kind of like a third person narrator. So, you know, Nancy's behavior kind of speaks for itself, and we're not looking at it through Margaret's experience and lens kind of thing.
So religion is a really big theme in both the book and the movie. And I feel like it's even, I mean, we have the interiority of religion with Margaret in the book. We have a lot more like introspective and everything. Whereas how in the movie, it feels more awkward and I get more feeling from it almost just because we're watching it. It's the same but different. And I did find like Margaret's use of prayer, the book and the movie, using her prayers to really get more of that information out for us, the reader, the viewer. But I feel like a lot of other books, they use diaries or journal entries or just regular like first person storytelling. But I like the use of religion as both the storytelling element and as a central theme through both of them.
Religion plays a big part in this for Margaret, especially because she's coming from like her parents both come from different religious backgrounds, and spoiler alert, like the mom is estranged from her parents because of her choice to marry someone who did not belong to the same religious faith as her. So Margaret's grandparents on her mom's side just could not stomach the fact that their daughter, a good Christian woman, would not marry a good Christian man and instead choose to marry a Jewish man. And I'm like, my dude, they're not the same, but they're not that different. And even still, love is love. But also it's the 1960s, so different time. I think the reason why I was never encouraged to read this as a child is because as the reader, you really get to see Margaret experience this like struggle with her faith, and what faith is, and like what religion she should choose. And there's just a lot of her being like a super young person and having to figure out really big life stuff.
And coming from the Bible Belt. You don't get to explore your religion. What you're born in is what you're born in.
Right. Coming from the Bible Belt, our house goes to church on Sundays and Wednesday nights.
Oh,
And
we didn't go on Wednesday.
we went on Wednesdays until I started to get really into swimming. That caused a lot of cognitive dissonance for me because how could I be a good Christian if I only went to church once a week? But I needed to go to swim practice on Wednesday nights, and swim practice was at the same time as like church youth group, whatever.
I mean, if I had like, because I did marching band and all that stuff. So if I had something that made it to where I couldn't go to mass on a Sunday, I would just go to mass on a Saturday instead. I could go to church every day if I wanted to, but I really, really, really didn't want to.
Yeah.
But I think along with, I mean, just choosing and like having that choice and exploring what it means to have a relationship with God or not having a relationship with God, I think that Margaret's like really isolated
Yeah.
in that way because all of her friends have somewhere that they go. And I think that this feels like a very like American issue to have, where if you don't have religion, you kind of don't have that community. Religion is community here. That's what it is. We don't really have any other like kind of culture. It's not tied to like our ethnicity or anything, really. So I feel like it's Margaret wanting to have a relationship with God, wanting to have a religion so that she has an answer to all the other people asking what she is, having that identity. I get it, you know? I mean, leaving the church and everything is difficult. I don't know what my life would have been like if I hadn't had it at all. I think that she definitely felt very othered, but also nothinged at the same time. Does that make sense?
I
mean, she new school, new house, new community, new friends, and no place for her to belong.
Right. And also, like, let's not take it out of like the time period context. Like, this is the 1960s. So what we experienced in like early 2000s in Missouri, I mean, they are in New Jersey, which I would think that would be like a little bit bigger, a little bit maybe more progressive than Missouri. But still, for the 1960s to be like, we don't have a faith. We don't go to a church, a mosque, a temple. Like, we don't do that. That's like weird. It's weird to be the new person on the block and be like, thanks for the invite to church, but actually I don't go.
I also want to talk about, I don't think my mom would have stopped me from reading any Judy Blume books. And I know that she didn't, because I read like Super Fudge and one other, I don't remember which one it was. But I specifically read Beverly Cleary and Captain Underpants, etc. I don't think my mom would have stopped me from reading something that dealt with religion, even though we were at the time very deeply religious. She just would have, if she had read it and saw that it might have me questioning my faith, she would have been like, but we're Catholic. Like, there just would have been like that little additional nudge to remain where we are.
I wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter books. And when I started reading the Twilight series, I think at first my parents didn't know what it was. My dad never cared about any of this stuff. Actually, my dad actively encouraged me to read Harry Potter and tried to use that as a mechanism to get me to spend more time at his house. He's like, the books are long, so I'll buy you all the books, but you got to stay over here more. My mom and my stepdad, absolutely not on Harry Potter. They also wouldn't let me like watch the movies, but my dad was like, hey, there's a new movie in the theater. Let's go see it. Explicitly, because your mom won't let you. So I saw the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Twilight was an issue for my mom and my stepdad as well, because vampires.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And werewolves, but mostly the vampires. I was in middle school when those really became popular.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, I'm just going to read it and not tell you.
My parents never discouraged books or anything. Like, that's the one thing. My mom has always been so worried that she didn't do a good job. And I actually told her recently, listen, here's the things you did right. She never discouraged music.
Wow.
Every CD that woman ever bought me was the unedited version.
Oh my gosh.
The explicit with the print. She was like, I never wanted you to have the edited version. This is the way that the artist made it, so this is the way that you're going to experience it.
So let's talk about Margaret's mother, Barbara.
I love Barbie.
You love Barbie?
Barbie. That's what I would have called her if I knew her.
Barbara. She is played by Rachel McAdams. And in the movie, she does not seem as happy as she does in the book.
She's so depressed.
I know. We see a lot more of her like being lost, walking around the house and like dumping all of her art stuff into like a back room and whatnot. Like she is. I do
Yeah.
love Rachel McAdams, what I think is like her natural hair, like the hair that they gave her
Mhm.
in the movie, because it's like not perfect.
That's what I want my hair to look like. I want my hair to look like that. And I think it does. But then I'm also like in that
Yeah.
stage right now where I'm like, it's not curly enough. So
Right.
I feel like Barbara, she had like a very similar kind of arc that Margaret did. It's all about finding your identity and your place in the world.
Right. I would kind of love to see actually like a sequel to the book, but maybe from Barbara's perspective, or like
Yeah.
experience what it was like for Barbara to have this big
Mhm.
move to the suburbs. And
Yeah. Because she's so artsy. She was obviously very involved
Mhm.
artistically in New York, in the big city where all the artists live. And then she moved to
I don't think
a
that
New
she
Jersey
was like
suburb.
going to like the Guggenheim on the reg,
No,
but
no, 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 no. It was very much like a down to earth type of like you and me, basically, like whenever we were in undergrad, like that kind of thing, if that makes sense.
maybe she did more art in this. No,
Almost.
actually, I think they talk about how she in the city she had to have a job for them to
Mm-hmm.
afford it, and then like Margaret's dad took
Yeah.
this promotion at work, and that meant that they could move and she wouldn't have
Yeah.
to work anymore. And so
Yeah.
I don't know that she was really like a part of like the art community. I don't know it doesn't really get into like what her job was in New York in the city. But I think what we see is her not
Yeah.
having a job, and then her like struggling with like, well, how do I fill my time? Like, what do I do
Mm-hmm.
if I don't work? That's capitalism, baby. In the book, Barbara's arc is not that like pronounced or anything, but in the
Mm-hmm.
movie, I think we get to see this really beautiful thing. Honestly, one of my favorite parts of the movie is at the end when the annoying PTA mom, I think it's actually
Mm-hmm.
Nancy's mom, approaches Barbara and is like, those stars that you made, and it was like way too many stars that she had to make.
And they didn't even use them all.
And they weren't even used.
Or any of them. They didn't use any of them because everything's a fire hazard now.
So dumb.
Ugh.
She put all of
Yeah.
this work into it and had to pick up somebody else's extra stars because her stars look like crap.
Thousands.
Yes. Yeah, it was a
Thousands
lot
of
stars.
them.
But so Nancy's mom is like, we're figuring out new committees. Like, would you be interested? And we get to see Barbara be like, I'd love to, but no, I don't want to.
Mhm. I really don't want to.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
Right. And she's like,
It's insinuated.
and that's just like, that's a lot of growth. I feel like there's a lot of women
Yeah.
like our age, a lot of women older than Barbara's age, like in her 30s, 40s, whatever. There's a lot of women out there that are like too shy to be like honest about
Just
how
say
they
no.
feel about something like that, being like, well, I appreciate the invitation and that was very nice of you to try to include me, but I'm actually not interested in participating.
Yeah.
I've learned my lesson.
We see her. It's again just like how Margaret was trying to find her place. Barbara was trying to find her place in this new sort of world that she found herself in. And she goes from, I think in the movie, they like kind of mentioned that she maybe taught art or something like
Mhm.
that. Like she was again,
Well,
it
at the
wasn't super
was going
defined.
into like a
Yeah,
class
yeah.
that she
And then so at the end she is at like a local place in New Jersey teaching art there. Which is lovely. And then it also shows her like finding sparks of inspiration here and there. Anyway, I loved Barbara's arc. It was beautiful. Rachel McAdams is just a doll. Grandparents are obviously like really, they got their hands in the mix of like how we're shaped like with religion. And it's hard for me to hate Grandma Sylvia because she's played by Kathy Bates, and I love Kathy Bates. dearly. She's so she's amazing. I love her. I don't know. She kind of reminds me of my mom a little bit.
Also named Kathy.
Also named Kathy, not short for Catherine. I feel like she's a little bit more obnoxious in the book, and I think that we're seeing Grandma Sylvia as just we're seeing her through a specific lens, and
Right.
and we're just getting little hints at how meddling she's being in the background
Yeah.
here and there. She's just a little bit different in the book versus the movie. Just her character is a little bit different. Like it's the same candy but different flavor.
Yeah. I mean, I think she's being a grandma, and I think we are seeing her adjusting to this transition, right? Of her son, I think her only son, and then her like only granddaughter
Mhm.
moving away to the suburb, and that means moving away further from her, and it's a big change for all of them.
Yeah. I mean, even in the book, Margaret talks about why they might have moved away. And she said she's further away from her grandma. And she says something to the effect of like, we moved away, especially since my mother says grandma is too much of an influence on me. So they're further away from her. And Margaret wonders if it's because her grandma is like being too pushy, you know? And
Right.
but the book and the movie, you just get little hints that there's been a lot more infighting and like arguments in the background that Margaret isn't like present for. I mean, I don't remember if it happened in the book, but in the movie, after they pick up Margaret from summer camp, and then she goes up to the apartment, and Grandma Sylvia is just like, "You're moving!" as soon as she walks in the door. And she was not supposed to do that. She was not supposed to tell Margaret that they were moving. And yes, Sylvia, to be fair, she would have figured it out because Margaret's very smart and there were moving boxes everywhere. But that's not really the point now, is it?
Yeah.
So that's frustrating. And I think that kind of like just shows a little bit more. Maybe I don't think it was the sole reason for why they were moving. That would be crappy. I think they just wanted, more room than an apartment in Brooklyn.
I think that information was included just to make
Mhm.
everyone feel more relatable, right? So
Yes.
the side
Yeah.
comment of
Mhm.
Margaret's voiciness as a narrator in the book being like,
Mhm.
it's probably a good thing we're moving because my mom says my grandma's too much of an influence on me anyways. And it's like,
Mhm.
and that's not a bad thing to have a grandmother as, depending on the grandmother, to have her as like another role model.
Because Sylvia's doing everything she does is out of love. Like
Right.
clearly, she's not.
She's definitely setting like
yeah.
a good example for Margaret.
Yes.
The only thing is potentially like, and she wasn't even that pushy, right? Margaret asked to
Mhm.
go to the synagogue with her. Sylvia's like, oh yes, like Judaism has won out.
Mhm.
And Margaret's like, no, I'm just like trying out
She
the water.
she took it and ran with it.
Yeah.
So, and I like Grandma Sylvia. She seems like the kind of person that I would want to live near.
Right.
She's lovely. She's a lot. But
Yeah.
she's lovely.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
I did kind of think that Sylvia was being a little bit sneaky. That's my only real thing that I don't like about her. So another really big theme in both the book and the movie is
Mhm.
estrangement from parents.
Yeah.
Going no contact before that phrase was a thing.
Which I think would have been a lot easier in the 1960s, actually.
Oh yeah. You really only have to
Make sure they don't know your phone number.
just don't give them your phone number.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you're not listed or something.
No social media. As long as you didn't have like a public facing job or career, like they'd have no
Mhm.
way of checking up on you. But yeah, so basically in the book and then also in the movie, Barbara, Margaret's mom, sends her own parents, Barbara's parents, a holiday card. Just as she's sending a bunch out and she decides to send them one. And, in the movie, we kind of get to see her like waffle with that decision a little bit. In the
Mhm.
book, I feel like we don't really get to see the like, should I not?
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
happened. She didn't really write anything in there. Uh it was her own little just secret thing that she did just
Right.
to kind of test the waters and see where they were at, basically. Just to remind them that she's
Right.
alive, I guess, Barbara was a lot more complex in the movie for sure.
She was. And I think Rachel McAdams, who plays Barbara in the movie, I mean, she did a phenomenal job.
Mm-hmm.
She just really got at the complexity. I just really enjoyed her arc throughout the movie. So yeah, like I can totally understand the kind of sentimentality. Like at one point I was estranged from my father. Did not, get married during that time, did not have a child during that time,
Mm-hmm.
or even like it wasn't even a long enough estrangement for me to have had a child and then have that child be like going through puberty by the time
Mm-hmm.
said child met their grandfather. So I think it's my estrangement from my dad was totally different, but he did miss out on some milestones for me. I mean, he missed out on my high school graduation. He missed out on the first 3 years of college for me.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of came in right as the fourth year of college was starting. So yeah, it's just kind of weird to think about.
Yeah. I mean, and I fully understand estrangement too, because my dad has missed everything from high school graduation and
Right.
on. But he missed my wedding. He missed me almost dying. He missed a whole bunch of stuff. And he's going to continue to miss out on a whole bunch of stuff. But that's a choice that he made.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yep. I mean, my dad's gone now, so he's missing out on a lot too. He never met Adam
Yeah.
because he had his fall before Adam came back to Missouri to meet him. It was
Mhm.
like the week before we had this big Missouri trip planned. So
Yeah.
so close. I mean, technically they did meet in the hospital, but
Yeah.
my dad
It's not the same.
not right in the mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, my dad thought his name
Yeah.
was Frank. And then he was already my fiance when he was just my boyfriend at that time.
Mm.
Anyway, so near the end of the movie and slash the book, it kind of stinks that Margaret's grandparents, whom she's never met, like the one week that they can come to the house and meet Margaret and meet their son-in-law, I guess, maybe for the first time. Like that happens to be Margaret's spring break and when she was supposed to go to Florida to be with her grandma Sylvia. And that's just like, that's really not cool. And that's really not fair to Margaret because she had all these hopes built up for this trip to Florida.
Well, and like it wasn't even a thing that was discussed. There was no discussion.
Right.
It was literally just like they wrote Barbara back and was like, hey, we will be there this day, this week. This is when it's happening.
We've been estranged for at least 11 years.
So we're going to steamroll you this week also.
Right. And it's like, no, I think we can find a better time that works mutually better for all of us. Like,
yeah,
this week doesn't work for us is what they could have said.
There could have been a phone call.
It could have been so many different things.
Yeah,
but
it could have been
just like the entitlement of that.
It was definitely stressful, and I think we saw a lot more anger from Grandma Sylvia in the movie too. She was a lot more.
Yeah.
She just really didn't take
more attitude.
Yeah, more attitude. She did not take anybody's crap. Like she's definitely the person that you want to have in your corner.
Yeah.
I think. Like she might be a bit much, but you know that she would always be there for you and will drop everything that she has going on to support you.
Yeah.
So Sylvia's obnoxious, but I love her. We all have one.
Yep.
So we did see a big change from the book to the movie with Grandma Sylvia. Like they really let her be Kathy Bates, I think, in the movie. Do you want to talk about that a little bit and her adorable little boyfriend?
So she shows up and her boyfriend, Mr. Binneman, like Cinnamon, show up the same night that Barbara's parents are there. And they're all having this big family dinner. So it's like, what, 7 people at the dinner table?
Yeah, it was Grandma Sylvia. Yeah, Grandma Sylvia and her boyfriend, and then Barbara, and then Margaret's dad, Benny, played by Benny Safdie.
Right.
Yeah, it was a big group, and I mean,
yep.
I would be overwhelmed if I was in a family of 3, and then suddenly there's 2 adult strangers with opinions sitting at my dinner table. It was stressful.
It was a very stressful scene, but for the movie, it was like this dramatic climax because it's where Margaret's parents learn that she went to temple with her grandma, and they're like, "What? You didn't even tell us about that? Was this your idea, Sylvia?" And she's like, "No, it was Margaret's." And then Barbara's parents are like, "Wait, what? You're Jewish? I thought you were Christian." And then Margaret's parents are like, "We're nothing. Like, we are no religion." And then Margaret's like, Margaret feels, I mean, you can tell, and she plays this so well. You can just tell that she feels like she's in the middle of all of these adults who want different things for her. And she's like, just stop. I'm 11. I'm becoming a woman. I don't want to have a religion. This is stupid. And so, yeah, it was just really dramatic. And it was a good scene, but it wasn't the same as the book.
Oh no, it was a lovely scene. I think I love Grandma Sylvia for different reasons in the movie than I do in the book, because in the book, Grandma Sylvia only tries to show up. She tries very hard to show up at the same time as Herb's parents do. And she misses them by what feels like minutes. So there is still the same like climax, a similar climax, I think, with both of them, because in the book, at the climax of this argument, in the movie, it's with all the grandparents and Mr. Benjamin, and then in the book, it's only like one set of the grandparents, and Margaret brings everything to a head with the quote, "I don't even need God," in the book, which is heartbreaking, because she talks to him literally every day. She has a great relationship with God, just no religion, right? But then in the movie, she says, "I don't even believe in God." And that's so, so heartbreaking, because that she only said these two things to stop the fighting and to just show that she is her own person and that she only wants religion for herself. She's not doing it to please anybody else. She's her own woman, her own little teenager woman.
All right. Are you a nerd or buff for this one?
Am I a book nerd or am I a movie buff? I don't know. On the one hand, I think that I might be a book nerd just because and this will really tell you where my brain has been. I love reading children's books. I love YA stuff. I do. And I don't know why I decided once I turned 20 or whatever that I shouldn't read them anymore. That's stupid. They're so pleasant. Even whenever they're talking about like these harder concepts and ideas, like I love it. It's comforting, and it's helping my brain like retrain itself to be able to read books again. I feel like that's something that I really struggle with after, having my phone in my hand for 10 years and just all this stuff going on in the world. I think I kind of really loved the book just because I used to really be a hardcore reader, and I'm just not as much anymore. And I finished this in like a day, and that made me feel good.
Yeah, I think on this one, I mean, I agree that the book was really easy to read, and it was like kind of refreshing, honestly, to have like a break in adult reading to read something that's like child appropriate, but also still like applies to adults.
Yeah.
And like is still
100%.
interesting, right? But I think I might have to say that I'm a movie buff on this one. Just because I feel like the movie came at a really good time. And I think that they did a great job of like sticking with the storyline. I mean, I know it's a children's book, so it's like not that long, but still, like they didn't.
A lot happened.
A lot happens. It's like a whole year in her life.
Yes.
And they didn't really have to cut any of it. Like they were very true to the book. And I just think that they did a really great job in the movie.
Yeah.
And it was really enjoyable and pleasant. And it was funny.
Yes. Oh my God.
And I also think that it was like, I mean, I watched it alone as an adult, but I feel like if I was watching with like a teen or a preteen, they would find it funny too. Like, it's a good movie.
You're listening to Book Club,
The movie,
the podcast.
Watch for new episodes out the third Thursday of each month.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Book Club the Movie. You can also find us on Patreon, Facebook, or on our website, bookclubthemovie.com.
This podcast was created and produced by Jen Moyer and M. Lord. Our music and mixing is by Jason Lord of Studio Topaz.
Voice acted by Ethan Gallardo.
And we just want to give a big thank you to our friends and family for your love and support.
And thank you, dear listener, for joining our book club.
See you next time, nerds!
And buffs.